Welcome to this video on the data availability layer. Last time we set up a node and a baker on QuebecNet, and this time we're going to add in a DAL node to the setup, and it's not going to take us very long at all. We actually installed the DAL node last time. We didn't do anything with it. DAL stands for Data Availability Layer, and the idea of it is to allow Tezos clients and users to publish data outside of the layer 1. You don't need to understand that to follow this video. All we're going to do here is configure the DAL node and get it working with the baker that we had last time. So just a quick look around. We had a server called Terry, and Terry has been faithfully running the Octes software. It's still running there. We've got the baker running, Quebec baker, the accuser, and also the node. Still running from last time. So before we get into that, let's have a look at DAL at high level. As I say, we're just going to cover what you need to know. If you need any more details, there's links below the video. DAL's been tested extensively today on GhostNet. It will work on QuebecNet, where we have this baker. You can also run DAL on mainnet, but not many people are doing that at the moment, and it's not mandatory to do so. At some point in the future, if you run a baker on mainnet, you're going to need to run a DAL node, and there'll be an incentive model for you. So if you run your baker with DAL, you'll get more rewards. And this is planned in 2025, so you may as well start to learn about it now. Our current setup consists of the node and the baker. The DAL node slots in between the baker and the node, and you can run the DAL node in two different ways. First of all, you can run it in bootstrap mode. So a boot node allows other DAL nodes to join the network. The DAL has its own P2P network, and it uses that to exchange information. It's unlikely you'll ever want to run a bootstrap node though, because other providers do that. The Tezos Foundation runs two DAL boot nodes on GhostNet and two DAL boot nodes on mainnet, and there'll be other providers in the future. So it's unlikely you'll need to do that as a standard user. The other mode is controller mode, which splits into three submodes. So the first one's a tester, and we'll come back to that in a minute because that's the one we want to use. And the other two are operator and observer. The primary use of DAL will be to store operations for smart rollups such as ETHLink, and this will be in a future version of the Tezos network. The operator and observer modes will be used by the smart rollup nodes in the corresponding operator and observer modes. We don't need to worry about these today. The attester mode is the one that's used by a baker. If you just start the DAL node and connect a baker to it, it will work in attester mode. It's actually better to tell the node which baking address it will be working with, but it's not mandatory. So out of the box, the DAL node works as an attester, provided it has a baker connected to it. Okay then, so over to the shell. Last time we installed the DAL node package on Terry, which is the £100 computer. We have everything ready. If you still need to install it, you can install it with that, like so. Last time we set up the app repo, you'd need to do that. If you have a look at the video from last week, then you'll have all the detail in that. First of all though, we need to configure the DAL node, and the DAL node needs to connect to the layer 1 node. We're running everything on the same machine today, which makes life a lot easier. To configure the software, we need to be the Tezos user. We also need to know the baker wallet address. Although I've got it on the screen in the Block Explorer there, I will get it out of the wallet here. So that's the address. And to configure the DAL node is very simple, very similar to configuring the layer 1 node. So Octes DAL node, config init, we then give the endpoint of the layer 1 node, which is running on the same machine. In fact, I'm pretty sure you don't even need to specify that, but we will anyway for completeness. And then we'll tell the DAL node that it's an attester, and it's going to attest for the baking address. That seemed to have worked. Let's have a quick look at the config. So similar to the layer 1 node, it outputs a JSON file. And there you are, you can see we've got the attester there, and a very limited set of config to get the DAL node going. And also an important thing, last time you'll recall we set up the node to allow all RPC from the local machine. That's quite essential here because the DAL node will be allowed to do everything it needs. Dropping back to the root shell, I can now set the DAL node to run at boot with system control. And I'm going to start it. Okay, I can check the logs to see if it's running. We've got a log file, and there it is. It's starting, it's generating an identity file, much in the same way that a layer 1 node does. It's contacted the layer 1 node, and it's downloading the configuration, and it's starting to track the blockchain. So that has worked. It has a P2P gossip server running on port 11732, and it has its own RPC server running on port 10732. Good. Now what we need to do is drop it into the Baker configuration. So we have a Baker configuration file. Now the packages haven't quite got the configuration ready for the DAL node. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it into the other command line options variable here. And so I'm going to do -- DAL node, and I'm running the DAL node on the same machine, so I'm just going to give it the URL and the RPC port of the DAL node. Now in future versions of the packages, what you'll be able to do is just type this, and that will do the same thing, but that won't work here. Now I can restart the Baker. And let's just see if that's restarted. And it has. Okay, now we wait patiently because we need to see if the Baker prepares a DAL attestation. So I'm going to hang on for a bit and then find one shortly. So we come back after a little while, and you can see we have attached a DAL attestation for level 503378. So everything is working as it should be. And just there is the full entry. Okay, so we've successfully attached our Baker to the DAL node. The DAL node is successfully using the node. And that's kind of all there is to it. There are a few other things to consider though. If you're on a NATed network, you'll benefit by opening your DAL port up and doing a port mapping for the health of the DAL P2P network. I won't cover that here. Also, another thing to consider is the DAL protocol records the IP address of the DAL node. So you might want to use a different machine for your node to your DAL node if you're worried about that. Someone could use that IP address perhaps to DOS and take your Baker and node off the network. But these are two more advanced things. I'm not going to cover them here. I hope that was useful. In my next video, I'm going to take this DAL node out again, and I'm going to add a ledger to the baking setup and show you how to use the wallet on it to bake. And I'm going to do that with a remote signer and without a remote signer. So that'll be next time. So I wish you a good night.